Hello everybody, I am here, my first video of the week. Got a few things I want to go over. I want to review Ring of Honor's 13th anniversary special. I want to preview the New Japan World Cup, the New Japan Cup. The tournament starts March 5th, so that's going to be starting up very, very soon. I think it goes until the 15th, and I was looking over the brackets, and there's some interesting possibilities for some matches there, but I'll save that more towards the end. So a lot of good stuff going on there. To get a non-wrestling thing out there, I didn't talk about this in my previous video because I was rushed for time, and I was obviously I edited that last video together in a bit of a rush, so I didn't get a chance to really mention this. But I did want to bring up that Leonard Nimoy had passed away last week. I'm sure all of you have heard about it, and that's a celebrity death that it hurts me a little bit. And I wasn't the biggest Star Trek fan on the planet. The extent of my Star Trek knowledge goes, I've seen all the movies. I've seen, I'll say about 10 to 15 episodes of the original series, and I've seen a handful of episodes of Next Generation. So I get the gist of Star Trek, basically, but my knowledge isn't overly extensive, and I wasn't a super huge fan of it. One of these days, I'll get around to watching the whole original series and watching at least most of Next Gen. I've heard Season 1 is terrible, but and I have a friend who says, he swears up and down that Deep Space Nine is the best show they did, but he also admits that he's a bit of a weirdo and that he's the only person that says that. But yeah, I was not the biggest Star Trek fan on the planet, but when I was a kid, one of my favorite movies, and it still is to this day, actually. Let me pull it off the shelf. I think I've got it. Yep, I have it right here. It's the only Star Trek movie I own on DVD. Star Trek II: The Wrath of Khan was one of my favorite movies as a child. It was, I mean, I put it up there with the original Star Wars trilogy. I put it up there with various other movies that I watched in my youth that were just really influential to me. The Godzilla series, Clash of the Titans was really important to me in my youth. And Leonard Nimoy was a big reason why. I remember the first time I watched that movie, Leonard Nimoy as Spock and Ricardo Montalban as Khan were easily my two favorite characters in the whole thing. And spoiler alert, for the 3 people that have not seen Wrath of Khan or haven't had it spoiled for them, Spock dies in the end, sacrificing himself for the crew, and that still to this day, like, one of the big tearjerkers that I've ever seen in film. And actually, it's amazing I didn't become a major Star Trek fan after that movie, because I loved Wrath of Khan so much. And like I said, a lot of it had to do with Leonard Nimoy and how he sacrificed himself for the crew. You know, he also, out of all the good guy characters, he had all the best quotes. He was the most fun. I mean, somebody, I think it was the people of Futurama, they when they posted their tribute to Leonard Nimoy, they said something like, he was the biggest nerd in the universe, yet he was so cool. And that's basically Mr. Spock in a nutshell. And Leonard Nimoy just played that character beautifully. And I think when I saw Wrath of Khan and I saw that both him and Khan died, I kind of was like, well, I have no reason to keep watching. So, of course, if I had paid attention and saw that the subtitle of the third movie was The Search for Spock, I would have known better. But in any case, Wrath of Khan was always a huge favorite of mine, and even in the other Star Trek movies, through the highs and the lows, and in watching all of the movies, I found that the odds and evens rule held up pretty well. The even-numbered movies tended to be really good, and the odd-number ones tended to be not so good. But even with that, Spock was always just a great character, and I always loved him, and Leonard Nimoy just had such a great presence. And of course, the other thing that I know Leonard Nimoy for from my childhood, I mean, there were a lot of things. I remember seeing him as the evil, basically, he wasn't named Jafar, but he was the Jafar character in Fairy Tale Theater's Aladdin. And, of course, he was really good. Of course, another one, James Earl Jones was the genie. Try to imagine how awesome that is. Trust me, it is awesome. Fairy Tale Theater is great. If you didn't see Fairy Tale Theater in your youth, you're missing out, because that was a hoot. I mean, they got so many big-name stars to do that. Nothing beats Jeff Goldblum as the Big Bad Wolf in Three Little Pigs. That was probably the best. But, yeah, so I saw Leonard Nimoy in a lot of things. And also, the other big thing that I knew him for, where do I have it? Whoop, let's see. All these new bookshelves. I'm not even used to it all yet. Right here. All right. Transformers the movie, that's the other big one. The first movie that ever made me cry, of course that was entirely because of Optimus Prime's death. I mean, at 4 years old I watched my hero die. I mean, that's not an easy pill to swallow, but Leonard Nimoy was the voice of Galvatron in that movie, and he was so menacing and so awesome that I loved him. And Galvatron became one of my favorite Transformers after watching that movie, because he unlike Megatron, and yes, they're the same character, Galvatron is just Megatron reformatted, but Galvatron got shit done in that movie. Like, he would kill people left and right to get what he wanted, and I loved Galvatron. He was so ruthless. So when I saw the post-movie episodes of the television show, I was disappointed, and not that I'm knocking Frank Welker, who was the voice of Galvatron on the show, but he played it as more of like a zany kind of, I'm crazy, and a lot of the malice was kind of gone, and I kind of miss that. And yeah, but nothing beats Galvatron in that movie, and Leonard Nimoy just provided such a great voice for it. So Leonard Nimoy, a great actor, great, remarkable talent, and he will be missed. And this is coming from somebody who's not a diehard Star Trek fan, but even I love Mr. Spock, so that's awesome. And he did a lot of other great things as well. So rest in peace, Leonard Nimoy. You were awesome. And oh, another thing he did, I can't bring this up. His guest appearances on The Simpsons were fantastic. The monorail episode, and my personal favorite episode of The Simpsons, the X-Files episode. He had a guest spot in that one too, and he was phenomenal. So once again, rest in peace, Leonard Nimoy. You were great, and love you for all the things that you did. You were fantastic. But moving right along to professional wrestling. I saw Raw this week. Well, I didn't see it on Monday night. I actually just got done watching the DVR. I'm not feeling the build-up to WrestleMania at all. And I could go on and on and on and on. The best storyline they have going right now is Miz and Mizdow, and they're not getting a WrestleMania match. What sense does that make? I don't know. I don't get it. Jon Stewart's inclusion was fine. I mean, he wasn't a disaster of a celebrity guest. I thought, and he had a couple of good lines, and he actually got into the storyline, which he actually referenced how Seth won the Money in the Bank, which I'm like, oh my god, he has a better memory than the WWE writers do most of the time. But no, I thought he was fine. I think he brings like that was a celebrity guest that actually worked out, and I think they should probably think about getting him at WrestleMania, but because they need something for WrestleMania, because there's not a whole lot going on right now. AJ came back, and that was pretty cool. So it'll probably improve the Divas match for WrestleMania, but I don't know how much. You know, having her there definitely helps, but I'm not sure if it'll. Her being back doesn't make me want to check out the show. Although I will say, all you people that chant CM Punk at her, please stop. Why do you do it? I don't understand the appeal in chanting CM Punk at AJ. It just, it makes no sense to me. It's like, she didn't do anything wrong. You know? She's not the reason Punk's not there anymore, and Punk's not coming back. So chanting at her isn't going to do anything. I mean, I don't understand it. I would like to appreciate AJ for who she is and not for being the wife of CM Punk. To me, she carved her own identity. She got herself over long before she married CM Punk, and I think she deserves a little bit more recognition than just being the girl that they chant CM Punk at just because of who she's married to. I think that's ridiculous, and I think AJ deserves better treatment than that, but what do I know? That's just me. But yeah, other than that, I'm still not feeling Roman Reigns at all as the protagonist, the main protagonist of WrestleMania. This angle they're doing with Cena, where it's like, oh my god, he might not be at WrestleMania. I'm like, if you follow through on that, I'll be really happy. I might actually check out WrestleMania with a smile on my face. But we know it's going to be him and Rusev, so like, why are we even bothering? Bray and Undertaker, same old, same old. Bray's great. But Undertaker's going to beat him. That's just kind of how it is. Especially if they keep Taker off TV until WrestleMania. Undertaker's definitely going to win. And because they'll want to do Sting and Undertaker at 32 because whatever. Yeah, I mean, it's just kind of like, I feel like I'm watching the same show every week. And the major problem with Raw week to week is that the matches mean nothing. Not Dean Ambrose. Brad News Barrett has lost so many he's lost so many non-title matches that it almost feels meaningless that he's the IC champion. And all these guys, I mean, literally the WrestleMania match is going to be him versus all the guys that have beat him in non-title matches since he's been the champion. It's a joke. It's laughable. And to me, the IC title deserves better than that. Bad News Barrett deserves better than that. Dolph Ziggler, Dean Ambrose, Daniel Bryan, Luke Harper. Yeah, it was a real great idea breaking up the Wyatt family. It's totally great character direction for both him and Rowan. It's just working out great. They all deserve better than that, but they're not going to get better. What else? I think that's about it. The Usos and Tyson Kidd and Cesaro. I'm already sick of that series of matches. I swear to God, they know how to just do the same match every single week where nothing changes. And it's just, oh my God. And I guarantee you next week on Raw, I guarantee you it's going to be some version of that next week. I guarantee you. It's either going to be Natty versus Naomi one-on-one, or it's going to be one of the Usos versus one of the Kidd and Cesaro team members, or it's going to be a tag team match between. Or it's going to be one of those. You're going to see it again, basically, is what I'm getting at. It's Hart Dynasty versus Crime Time all over again, which, I mean, I swear to God, there was a point where they wrestled each other every week for like 3 months. Yeah, so, I mean, the matches just felt pointless, and Reigns and Rollins just didn't do it for me as a match. And I mean, you can't have a good match with Seth Rollins. There's something wrong. And the fans just aren't buying Roman Reigns. And I don't know, it'll be interesting come Mania time. I don't know what's going to happen. I have an idea of what I think is going to happen. I think they're going to get booed out of the building, especially with all these rumors that Lesnar walked out on Raw and he may or may not be at WrestleMania, which, like I said, Lesnar's going to be at WrestleMania, but I mean, this could potentially turn into Goldberg and Lesnar all over again. It could potentially be that bad, but in any case, that was Raw. But getting into some more enjoyable pro wrestling news, like I said, I did check out Ring of Honor's 13th anniversary show. I enjoyed it. Not a perfect show by any means. The main event kind of left a sour taste in my mouth, but I'll get into that. But let's go over the matches. Opening match was Cedric Alexander versus Reborn Matt Sydal. A good opener. I mean, there's really all there is to say about it. It was a good, action-packed, hot opener to liven the crowd up. Maybe there were a few too many finisher kickouts and stuff like that because, if you do that too much early on in the show, it kind of means less as the show progresses. And Ring of Honor, they really... okay, most wrestling companies do overdo it with the finisher kickouts, but Ring of Honor really overdoes it with the finisher kickouts. But in any case, it was still a solid match, and I enjoyed it. Sydal got the win, and Cedric Alexander looked pissed off afterwards. So, character direction? Who knows? Next, we got Moose versus Mark Briscoe. In doing what they wanted to accomplish, it was fine. They wanted to get Moose over as a monster and give him character builders, and Mark Briscoe went out there and did his best to make him look good. And basically, it wasn't a full-on squash match, but it was pretty close, and Moose comes off looking like a brute because of it. I like his presentation overall. I like, what's his agent's name? Vita Scott or something like that. I think her being the master manipulator and him being kind of the muscle head that does what he's told. I think that's a good setup. I think it's a good character. I don't like the name. I think the name is kind of silly. And the talent is still... Moose himself is still pretty green. So, doing matches like this is a good way to protect that. Just let him be dominant, let him kill people. I mean, Baron Corbin in NXT was a lot cooler when he was just hitting his finisher. When he actually tried to wrestle Bull Dempsey, it was like, ooh, God, that didn't go so well. But, he's still green and he still needs some work, but I think there's a good presentation. There's a good character in there, and there's good room for character growth in there. It's just a matter of execution and whether or not the talent is able to evolve beyond that point. But next up, we got the three-way tag. Well, I guess it's two on 2 on 1. The Addiction, Kaz and Daniels versus the Kingdom, Taven and Bennett versus the Bullet Club minus Doc Gallows and Carl Anderson going out there and wrestling the match on his own. I do like the nice touch that Carl Anderson lost the match, because if you're dumb enough to go into that situation without a partner, you're going to get your ass kicked. So the fact that he ate the pin just makes sense to me. A match itself, I mean, it was a 3-way tag, not bad. But as I've said before, if you've seen one 3-way tag or 4-way tag, you've kind of seen them all. They all kind of look the same after a while, which is why, again, I've gotten to where I really do prefer either straight-up tag teams or straight-up one-on-one. And anytime it goes into the multi-man thing, I just kind of... I don't want to say I zone out, but I was like, yeah, I've seen all this before. This all looks familiar. So they all, like I said, they all kind of look the same after all, but it was still good. It was still action-packed. I like the Kingdom as a tag team. I was never overly sold on Bennett, but I do like Matt Taven, and I think overall they work well together as a team, and it's always good to see Kaz and Daniels as well. So overall, like I said, overall this was fine. It was good. Next up, I believe, was B.J. Whitmer versus Roderick Strong, which was boring. I have never liked Roderick Strong. I have never, ever been a big fan of his. He bores me. He has no charisma. The promo, that they did the little preview package before the match, and his promo was just laughable. I couldn't tell who the heel was supposed to be because both of them came off looking like jerks. I couldn't get a sense of anything. And this is a storyline where it's two partners breaking up. And I felt nothing. And the opening match was a match that really didn't have much story going for it. And I felt more for that match than I did for this one. So it's just, Roderick Strong just cannot connect with me personally at all whatsoever. And I just kind of zoned out. And BJ Whitmer's not much better. So I just kind of zoned out. And actually, when I reviewed War of the Worlds last year, I think I made the joke that the decade was they should rename themselves the Borings. Because I was like, oh, Whitmer and Strong, they're perfect for each other. They're both boring as fuck. And now they're wrestling each other. Oh, goody, even better. I know that's harsh, but I've never connected with Roderick Strong. And the fact that he's calling himself Mr. Ring of Honor, which I assume is a way to get heel heat, because I can't... It's like, yeah, you've been there the whole time, but you're not the guy that... provided the quality for Ring of Honor. I mean, when I think of, the best of the best that really added to the Ring of Honor brand, I think of CM Punk, I think of Samoa Joe, I think of Nigel McGuinness, I think of Bryan Danielson, Daniel Bryan, for the two of you that don't know, and couldn't figure it out, WWE with their creative names. Oh, let's just switch the names around. That's real creative. I mean, those are typically the names that I think of. And I would even throw Tyler Black up there. He was one of the last guys they had that was really, really good. El Generico, Kevin Steen, I would throw up there as well. Roderick Strong, he's just always been the guy that's there to me. It's like, oh, he's just a body that's there. Okay. That's all there is to say. But anyway, I've already talked way too much about this match. The next match, ODB versus Maria Kanellis in a women's grudge match. I actually really liked this. It was fun. It was entertaining. And a lot of, wrestling purists don't like stuff like this, but to me, I'm just kind of like, come on, lighten up, guys. It's a party. And, I think Maria is great in her role. As a non-wrestling valet, I think she's fantastic. Her promo, again, referencing the pre-match packages, her promo may have been the best one of the bunch. Out of everyone that did one for the show, hers might have been the best. I think she's a great character. She takes bumps well enough, and is really great at providing comeuppance for when she builds up her heat, and then when she gets her comeuppance, it's satisfying. That's really what this match was all about. And the opening bit where she faked a pregnancy to try and get out of it, that was great. I mean, that was a new twist on an old idea, because we've seen the whole the heel fakes an injury to try and get out of a match, but this is kind of a new twist on it. And I think she's great. I think it was really good. And ODB, she's fine, and she fits in very well with the Briscoes. And overall, the match was short. It was just a quick, fun little thing to give the heel her comeuppance. It was fine. It was Bobby Heenan booking. There's nothing wrong with that, and I enjoyed the match. My only real knock on it was that Maria kicked out of an accidental Mike Bennett super kick, which, again, going to how Ring of Honor overdoes it with the finisher kick out. So I was like, that's a little... Okay, she's supposed to be a non-wrestler, and she's half his size, and she gets kicked in the face and still kicks out. I'm like, I don't buy that. But other than that, I thought it was fun. It was exactly what it needed to be. It was just something that was fun, short but sweet, and entertaining, and that was all it needed to be. And a lot of people are going to shit on that, and I've heard a lot of people shit on that, but I enjoyed it for what it was, and there's nothing wrong with matches like this every once in a while. I like good wrestling comedy. For all the bashing I do of WWE and their comedy bits, it's not that I hate that there's comedy in wrestling. I hate that their comedy sucks. That's my problem with it. This match right here was pretty solid, good wrestling comedy. That's fine. No problem there. And my hat's off to Maria. She's great. I think she's fantastic. So who knew that one of the Diva Search contestants would end up being a pretty damn good valet. But in any case, there was that. Then we had AJ Styles versus ACH in a singles match. This was my favorite match on the show. This was the one that really had some really subtle nuances to it that I really liked. It was the only match I could think of where, because on commentary the whole night they kept talking about how they were using traditional ring ropes as opposed to the cables, and what kind of a difference that would make. This was the only match where that played any kind of a difference, as AJ used the advantage of the traditional ropes to break up one of ACH's high-flying moves, and that was a nice little touch. That was a nice little nuance. I like that. I like that the basic formula of the match was ACH was flashier. He was more athletic. He did all the high-risk Daredevil stuff. AJ was smarter and more calculating and outsmarted ACH throughout the match with little tricks here and there. Excuse me. And so the whole match was kind of this tit-for-tat, cat and mouse type of thing, where ACH would hit a really big athletic move, but AJ would do something to outsmart him, and that closing sequence in particular I thought was very strong and very good. And overall, I just thought it was a really good match. It was just a very, very good match, and my personal favorite match on the show. It was one of those, the psychology was strong and it complemented the action very well, and that made me enjoy it even more. So I just loved it. Thought it was great. And ACH is somebody I've always seen ever since I saw him at Supercard of Honor WrestleMania 29 weekend. I was like, that guy's he's pretty flashy and athletic. I kind of like him. I wonder if he can. Of course, I saw him in I think it was a tag match, and I was like, I wonder if he can actually work and put a match together, because I think there's something. He's got some charisma to him too. So I think there's something there. And sure enough, he went out there and had a pretty good match with AJ. Of course, he's working with AJ Styles, but at the same time, he played his part. He did his role. He held up his end of the bargain. So overall, I thought that was a great match. I really loved it. So there's that. Next up was Red Dragon versus the Young Bucks for the ROH Tag Team titles. I don't want to sound like a prick here. I really don't. But tag team psychology is just dead. It's dead, and to me, there's no use complaining about it anymore, because I'm in the middle of an empty field just screaming and nobody can hear me. It's just tag team psychology is fucking dead. It is destroyed, and it is dead and buried, and I should just accept it and move on. This match, every complaint I have about modern day tag team wrestling was fully in this match, because they did not adhere to the rules of tag team wrestling from the word go. It was just a straight-up tornado tag the entire way through. So much so that at one point the commentators reference, "Oh, he's the legal man." I'm like, we're keeping track? The referee knows who the legal man is? I'm shocked. I mean, what's the point of tagging in and out? I mean, there's literally no point to any of this. And to me, wrestling promotions should either get back to enforcing the rules of tag team wrestling, utilizing a 5 count in between tags, because that's where all the double team moves are supposed to come in between the 5 counts, and nobody does that. I mean, fuck. There's a 5 count? I don't know. So there's a... Man... so there's a lot of that going on, and a lot of times there'll be really long stretches where they don't even bother tagging, and then if you look at most other promotions, once the hot tag comes, then it just turns into a tornado tag all the way through, and it's like, well, what was the point of tagging for the first 5 minutes, and actually I did see a match on NXT. It was the Lucha Dragons versus Dillinger and Jordan. And the Lucha Dragons won that match because they prevented the other team from getting any tags. I'm like, yay, strategy and tag team psychology, yay! Maybe it's not as dead as I thought it was, but I mean, this match was like, oh my god, this is the most ridiculous thing I've ever watched. This is like no psychology at all whatsoever, none. That said, it was fun to watch. It was an extremely fun, like, acrobatic, athletic display that was basically like watching a car wreck for 15 minutes. It was a lot of fun in that aspect. It was like, okay, it's basically a demolition derby, and for that, I was like, okay, I enjoyed it for that. It's a spot fest. It was a mindless action movie, no story, but the explosions look cool and the flips through the air look cool. So okay, I'll go with it. It was entertaining, and the Young Bucks are amazing athletes and do all these incredible things. So I know they want to showcase as much of that as possible, whether it makes any sense or not. And Red Dragon, they're usually usually have pretty good matches. Normally they're more restrained than this. I was a little surprised to see them just going along with the Young Bucks doing this. But then again, the Young Bucks always do this, so it's kind of expected at this point. But I thought the finish was a little anticlimactic because, again, they hit so many amazing tag team combos in there that all of them kicked out. That simply hitting Chasing the Dragon to win and retain the titles, to me, was kind of anticlimactic. I was like, oh, really? You just went with your normal finisher? After all those incredible, like, tag team moves that would make the Hardy Boys blush, I, hang their heads in shame. Like, all these incredible moves, and it ends on the normal finisher? I'm like, okay. You know, it was a little anticlimactic, but again, no psychology. The story made no sense. I just enjoyed the ride. So, like I said, it was entertaining. It was action-packed. And if it doesn't bother you that the rules of tag team wrestling are just completely thrown out the window, then you'll probably really enjoy this because it was balls-to-the-wall action from the word go. So it was very exciting. It was very entertaining, even if it didn't make any sense. So I'll accept it. I'll go with it and say that they had a really good match. Next up was Alberto El Patron challenging Jay Lethal for the ROH television title. I missed a few minutes of this match because my internet cut out, so I didn't get the full scope of the match, but it was good from what I saw. It was okay, at least. I was a little surprised that Alberto didn't win. I was like, oh, that's surprising. I thought maybe they'd give him the belt, but it was good and solid. I really liked the sequence where Alberto countered the Randy Savage elbow drop into the cross arm breaker. I thought that was pretty cool. And, yeah, it was just a good match. There's nothing else to say other than that. Jay Lethal retained, and that's all well and good, I guess. Excuse me. We still haven't seen Alberto wrestle on Lucha Underground yet, and I'm actually looking forward to it because I feel like I don't know if it's just him being outside of WWE and their creative structure, but he feels like so refreshed and so energized now of being outside of that company because he's bringing a lot more fire and passion to what he does. And sometimes a change of setting is good for a guy to, kind of refine, find your passion again. But in any case, yeah, so I enjoyed that match just fine, even if I did miss a couple minutes of it. And then we had the return of Samoa Joe, which was cool. It was good to see Joe. The crowd went nuts for him and chanted all sorts of things like "Welcome back" and "Fuck TNA" and all that stuff, and they had fun with it. And it was cool to see Samoa Joe in Ring of Honor again. He didn't really do much. He just kind of said that he's coming for the ROH World Title, which that's interesting. And I think I heard earlier today that his first match in Ring of Honor is going to be against Kyle O'Reilly, which that could be a really good first match for him. So we shall see. I hope that's right. It was either Adam Cole or Kyle O'Reilly. I'm pretty sure it was O'Reilly, though. But we'll see what Joe does. Apparently, he's only going to work a few shows, so he's not going to be there very long. And I'm already hearing rumors that Samoa Joe signed with NXT, and he's going to do that once he wraps up with Ring of Honor. So, again, we'll see. Samoa Joe's in high demand right now, so good for him. And we'll see how it goes. Next up was the main event. Jay Briscoe defending the ROH World Title in a four-corner survival match against Tommaso Ciampa. I'm sure I butchered his first name, but who are the other ones? Michael Elgin and Hansen, who I've never seen before. If I have seen Hansen before, he didn't leave an impression on me earlier. This is the first time I got to see him, and he looked kind of out of place in there. Not that he was bad or anything, but he just like, who the fuck is this guy? It would be like putting Mike Knox in like a world title match or something. It just looked weird. Not that he performed shittily or anything. It just struck me as weird. I don't know. And of course, a lot of that's probably because I've never seen him before. But regardless, I did not like this match. I hated it. I was like, this is shitty. Like, this match was really shitty. And overall, Ring of Honor put on a pretty good show up to this point. And this main event, I thought, like, really ended the show on a bad note. I was like, wow, this sucked. It was just it was a typical standard 4-way up until, I think, maybe the ref bump happened. And then once that happened, it just turned into this overbooked mess where there were run-ins and Nigel got involved. And this mysterious group of guys, the Knights of the Rising Dawn, they got involved. And that was confusing. And they threw a couple other bodies in there. And the referee was down for an obscenely long time before they sent out a replacement. It was ridiculous. I mean, he was trying to break the record of the referee from the Triple H Undertaker WrestleMania 17 match, I think. But yeah, the match just came off like really awkward and really sloppy, and the closing sequence in particular was really anticlimactic and really kind of sloppy, and it just felt awkward is the way to go, and it really didn't end the show on a good note, I don't think. And yeah, they teased Samoa Joe and Jay Briscoe going at it for the title. That was kind of the last visual they went out on, which is fine. But the match, the 4-way match, was not very good. I was not a fan of it, and it was, for a show that was their 13th anniversary and was, like I said, a pretty good show up to that point. To have a main event kind of tank like that was pretty disappointing. But, you can't win them all. Overall, I did enjoy the show. Like I said, I really liked AJ and ACH. The tag title match, regardless of whether or not it made any sense at all, was fun to watch. I enjoyed ODB and Maria, believe it or not. I enjoyed the opening match. I enjoyed the 3-way tag. The TV title match, the parts of it that I saw were fine. Samoa Joe's return was pretty cool. So most of the show was pretty good. There were no major title changes or anything, so really Samoa Joe's return was the major highlight. But overall, I mean, it was a pretty solid show from top to bottom, except for the main event. That was kind of the one really, really bad stinker. And obviously, I wasn't a fan of Roderick Strong and BJ Whitmer either, but that wasn't the main event. So, the main event leaves more of an impression and how lackluster it was. But overall, it was a solid show. I enjoyed it. But the New Japan Cup, did want to talk about that. That starts up this week. And I was looking at the brackets, and I am definitely going to check out this tournament because there are a lot of interesting possibilities here of who could win. The winner of the tournament is going to get a shot at either the IWGP World Heavyweight Championship, the Intercontinental Championship, or the Never Openweight Championship. So that right there, I'm looking at all the guys that are in it. Makabe's in it. Okada's in it. Tanahashi, Yuji Nagata, Shibata and Goto, who could very well have a match in the second round. That was brought to my attention. I'm like, oh my god, that could happen too. That could be really good. There's a few Bullet Club members in there. There's just a lot of stuff, and I'm looking at these brackets and where they could match up. It's like you could get Tanahashi and Okada, I think, in the semifinals. I think you could get Kota Ibushi is in there, and I think he's going up against... Who's he going up against in the first round? I don't know, but Ibushi could wind up facing Tanahashi at one point, or he could wind up facing Okada. And either one of those, I think, would be great. There's a lot of great possibilities in there, and the fact that they could go for any of those 3 championships, I'm thinking, well, Makabe could win it and get a shot at Ishii for the Never Openweight Championship that he never lost, or Okada could win it and go after AJ and kind of redeem himself for the loss at Wrestle Kingdom 9. That could very well work out. Or he could go after Nakamura, battle of the 2 Chaos members, I guess. Or Ibushi could win and go after Nakamura or AJ. Or, there's a lot of interesting possibilities there. I don't know. Hanma's also in the tournament, so you're going to get at least one awesome match, because Hanma, based on what I saw in the New Beginning shows, he's like the lovable loser that has awesome matches. So, you're going to get, I guarantee you, he's going to get at least one awesome match. He's actually facing Makabe in the first round, which of all the first round matches, I think that might be the one I'm looking forward to the most. But, Yeah, so that tournament looks like it could be very, very good. And I think it goes from March 5th all the way to the 15th. So I think what I might do is just wait until the tournament's over and then try and watch as much of it as I possibly can right after that. I mean, it is 15 matches, so it's going to be hard to get through all of it. But this will be the first major New Japan tournament that I'm going to try and watch. So I hope I enjoy it, and it looks like it could be really awesome and really good, and could set up a really big title match down the road. So I'm fully on board with that, and I'm definitely going to check out the G1 Climax later in the year. I think again the show on Access, they had some matches from the 2013 G1 Climax, and I really dug the format, and I really dug the matches that they were having. I was like, man, this seems pretty cool. I want to watch this. So I'm definitely checking out that 2015 G1 Climax. So a lot of good stuff on the horizon for New Japan Pro Wrestling, and I'm going to enjoy as much of that as I can, in addition to Lucha Underground, which is awesome, and in addition to NXT, which is awesome. I am actually, as bad as WWE might be from time to time, and as like we're heading into WrestleMania season, and I am so like apathetic towards WrestleMania, you would think I'd be a depressed wrestling fan, but I'm not, because I have New Japan, I have Lucha Underground, I have NXT. Ring of Honor is a solid option. I'm not in love with Ring of Honor, but it's a solid option. Basically, I don't need Raw or SmackDown or even WrestleMania to be a happy wrestling fan. There are other options out there. I have other things that I can enjoy, and I'm enjoying it. I'm loving New Japan. I'm loving Lucha Underground. I'm loving NXT, which is a WWE product, and it's great. I wish Raw was more like it. I also wish Raw wasn't 3 hours long, which would be nice. But basically I encourage you all to, if you're down on WWE, I mean, if you're enjoying WWE, then keep enjoying it. I mean, that's fine. Like what you like and just keep enjoying it. But if you're down on WWE, there are plenty of other options out there for you to go look for it. Go. It's fun. It's cool. And there's some really good stuff going on right now in wrestling. Just and almost none of it has to do with WrestleMania. Whatever. I mean, it really is amazing how kind of apathetic I am towards WrestleMania. You have Sting making his WWE debut. You have Undertaker coming back. You have Lesnar about to drop the title after ending the streak and destroying John Cena last year. And, I mean, you would think with all of that, there would be a lot more intrigue or a lot more excitement heading into the show. And right now I just feel, whatever. And a lot of it has to do with the fact that Raw is just not a good show for building it up. It's just not working out to. I mean, I'm not saying WrestleMania will definitively be a bad show. I'm just saying just the way it's being built up at the moment is not very good. But like I said, there are plenty of other options out there if you're a wrestling fan that's starved for quality content. So I encourage you to go out there and find it. But that is all I have for now. Thank you all for listening. Thank you all for watching, I should say. I should have another video up by the end of the week. I'm not sure what it's going to be about yet, but I do this shit on the fly. I make it up as I go. That's all. That's how I do things. But that is all I have for now. Hope you all enjoy the rest of your week. If you're living on the northeastern region, be careful of the snow. I think I speak for all of us when I say that I am so goddamn sick of winter that I am ready to murder every single goddamn groundhog in existence. I know that won't do anything, but goddamn, it will make me happy. And now that I got that psychotic rant out of the way, I'll leave you all now. I'll see you all at the end of the week, and until then, later, everybody.